Hey everyone, again we're doing exercise 5.10. I already gave out a solution from student A's perspective, the dumbest student out of the three. Okay, so right now I'm about to give a last solution. So read the question if you want to, and then once you're done, you check this out. Okay, let's examine our first solution. So here's the deal. Student C realized that there was no need for us to have these two constants, right? And furthermore to that, student C decided to use a for loop. Why? We know our minimum and our maximum boundary. So basically, we're not quite sure how many times the loop will execute, but we know the minimum and the maximum boundary, right? So we might take chances maybe by using a for loop. Again, I said this before, it's a matter of a choice here. What is it you want to use between the for loop and the while loop, right? Another thing is student C realized that you see, on modern computers, their RAM are quite huge. So we might say maybe this won't slow our program down if we have these two variables, right? But here's what you should know. If you may be learning one language, just like Java, for instance, you guys are watching this because you're learning Java. It's also useful to think of the way you create your variables, right? It's also important not to have redundant variables, because you would have a problem if you do other languages like C++, for instance, because those languages, you've got to be as precise as possible and careful as possible when it comes to creating variables and manipulating them, right? So that is why I'm trying to stress this out, even though many Java instructors, they don't seem to do so. They don't stress enough the importance of creating variables only if you need them, right? I don't know if you get my point here, but what I'm trying to say is avoid creating variables unnecessarily, right? And even if you do, try to make sure that you use the correct data types. Most of Java programs, you would hardly find Java programs with bytes, data types, and short, right? Most of programmers, Java developers, they simply use integers and doubles as if those are the only two choices, okay? So please, guys, I know we've been through variables, but I just thought, I should remind you of that again, okay? So now let's jump on to our final solution. So here's our solution. What we'll simply do is to go, again, we want this count variable, which will tell us where to display our number, whether on the current line or the next one. Okay, so here's what we need there. And let me just use I in this case. I is gonna be my number, so I'm gonna start from 100. Is I less than equals to 1,000? Okay, we know that this will execute 900 times. Okay, so we gotta go I plus plus. And then once I do that, I'll check if my I mod 5 is equals to 0, more or less like what we had before, except now we're using a for loop, and I mod 6 equals to 0. If this is the case, we simply display our number, right? Simply display our number. However, it will be a bit different like than what we had before. We'll do everything in one line. We'll simply display our number, and then we do the checking here. This is where we'll do the checking. Oh, let's see. If count mod 10 is exactly 0, what do we do in that case? We will simply, oh, there is not number, it's I. What do we do in that case? We simply go simply print, or let me do this, I've got to put everything inside brackets. I simply print a number, then go to the next line, otherwise I print a space. Okay, once I'm done with that, I will have to increment my count. Okay, that is pretty much it, folks. Let's hit the run button and see what we get. Oops, 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 oops. Where could I possibly have messed up? Okay, system.out.print. You print a number, you check this condition here. If I mod 10 is 0, we go to the next line. If count mod 10 is 0, we go to the next line. Otherwise, I don't know where I could possibly have made a mistake. Let me give me a sec, you folks. I'm gonna check this. Okay, folks. It is a silly mistake. You see, when it comes to programming, there are tiny mistakes that you would find yourself making. So that's why if you've got something to submit, you make sure you recheck your code, like you check it over and over again. Because right now, I was so dumb in a way that I forgot putting this. I forgot incrementing count only if we have a number that is divisible by both 5 and 6. So that's why we had numbers lying in one line. Seems like we have now what we expected. That should be it for this tutorial, you guys. Cheers, I'm gone.